You are more educated than Henry Ford. You are probably technically smarter than him, or so your teachers told you, and yet he died controlling a fortune equivalent to $200 billion, while you are still driving the same car from 8 years ago, celebrating a 3% raise and dreaming of a 30-year mortgage with nightmares of being laid off. What went wrong? They lied to you. You were manufactured and groomed to be a perfect cog in someone else's machine. They filled your head with useless information. They taught you to ask for permission, to wait your turn, to be grateful for scraps. They fed you the lie that hard work always pays off, and it does, but only for the person signing your paycheck. Brainwashed you into believing that a degree and 60-hour work weeks entitle you to success. They don't. They turned you into the ideal employee, smart, obedient, replaceable. Pizza party, Fridays, anyone? In 1919, Henry Ford was in a courtroom. Lawyers asked him basic history questions to expose him as ignorant. Ford admitted he didn't know the answers. It should have been the end of him. Instead, that answer revealed exactly why he built empires while people with PhDs worked on his assembly line. If you want to stop being the part and become the engineer, here is what you have to do. Welcome to the factory. History sold you a lie about Henry Ford. They painted him as the kindly inventor of the modern car. That is propaganda. Ford didn't invent the automobile. Carl Benz did that in Germany. The Duryea brothers did it in America before him. What Ford invented was something far more dangerous, an industrial domination system that could crush any competitor. While other manufacturers competed on quality and design, Ford redesigned the entire game. He didn't win by being the smartest. He won by making everyone else's intelligence irrelevant. And if you are tired of being the most prepared person in the room, but the least powerful, pay attention. Because what comes next isn't motivation, it's power architecture. Let's start in that courtroom. Lesson 1, Strategic Ignorance. Back to 1919. The Chicago Tribune had called Ford an ignorant anarchist in an article. Ford sued them for libel. And in the trial, the Tribune's lawyers tried a brutal strategy. Expose Ford as uneducated in front of all of America. They asked him question after question about general knowledge, history, geography, literature, everything. Ford answered that he didn't know, over and over again. The lawyers smiled. They thought they had him. Until Ford said this, "I do not clutter my mind with general knowledge that is easily available in books. If I need answers, I have men around me who can bring me any knowledge I require." The room went silent. Do you see what just happened? The lawyers were trying to prove Ford was stupid for not knowing facts, but Ford just exposed that they were the stupid ones for wasting mental space on information they could delegate. Here is the truth. Your education never taught you. Average people hoard information to feel smart. Powerful people hoard access to experts to be effective. Your brain has limited capacity. Every useless fact you memorize is real estate. You steal from strategic decision-making. Every time you feel proud of knowing it all, you are confessing that you have no one working for you. Strategic ignorance isn't about being stupid. It is the arrogant refusal to occupy your mind with garbage that doesn't move the needle. Stop memorizing the manual. Hire the guy who wrote it. But there is a problem. If you delegate without a control system, your experts will eventually betray you. And this is where Ford implemented something most people consider toxic, but worked brutally well. Lesson 2, Industrial Opacity. When Ford was developing the Model T, nobody knew what was happening inside Highland Park. Not his competitors, not the press. Even his own managers only knew their specific piece of the puzzle. The information was compartmentalized, sealed, opaque. Compare that to today. You post your plans on social media. You tell your ideas to your friends before executing them. You celebrate small victories that mean nothing yet. And you wonder why someone else always gets there first. Ford operated under a simple principle. When you are predictable, you are easy to attack. When you are transparent, you give your competition the exact map of how to destroy you. Opacity creates something powerful: speculation. When you leave an information void, people fill it with their imagination. They start creating myths about you. They attribute capabilities to you that you might not even have. And in business, respect born from uncertainty is worth more than love born transparency. Learn to shut up. Don't explain your motives. Don't justify every decision. Become unreadable. But opacity alone won't protect you when someone decides to destroy you directly. There comes a moment when a partner, a competitor, someone who thinks they need you, discovers they can eliminate you. And when that moment came for Ford, he did something most would consider suicidal madness. Lesson 3. Scorched earth detachment. Ford has a problem. His partners, the Dodge brothers, want huge dividends from the profits. Ford wants to reinvest everything to expand aggressively. This creates enormous tension and conflict between Ford and his associates. The Dodge brothers sue him. Most entrepreneurs would have negotiated, looked for a compromise, saved the relationship, not Ford. Ford chose a strategy of corporate suicide. He publicly announced that he would resign from Ford Motor Company, that he would sell all his stock, that he would start a new car company to compete against them and destroy them. The panic was instant. Ford Motor Company stock plummeted. The Dodge brothers went into crisis mode. How do you compete against Henry Ford, against his name, his reputation, and his industrial genius? And while everyone was panicking, Ford did something brilliant. He sent agents to quietly buy up all his partners' shares for pennies on the dollar. When the dust settled, Ford owned 100% of the company. He eliminated the Dodge brothers. No mercy, no negotiation. This is the most brutal lesson of power. The person willing to destroy the deal controls the negotiation. If you are afraid of losing a client, a boss, or a relationship, you are already their slave. The willingness to burn everything down to win the war is what separates negotiators from dominators. But here is the problem with Scorched Earth. It gives you negotiating power, but it doesn't give you sustainable control. For that, you need something more sophisticated. Don't force people to stay, make them terrified to leave. And on January 5th, 1914, Ford executed the most brilliant mass control play capitalism had ever seen. Lesson 4. Golden handcuffs. A silent leverage. Ford made an announcement that left the entire industry in shock. He would double his workers' wages to $5 a day, double what any other factory paid. The press exploded. They called him a philanthropist, a socialist, a labor revolutionary. They were blind. Ford wasn't being generous. He was buying something money usually can't buy: psychological dependency. Think about it. By paying double the competition, his employees could no longer afford to quit. They had gotten used to that lifestyle, bought houses, had kids, created obligations based on that income. Quit, financial suicide, strike, unthinkable. No other factory paid even half as much. Ford didn't buy their labor, he bought their lives. This eliminated turnover, it eliminated troublesome unions. It gave him absolute control over his workforce. And all while the press praised him as a progressive hero. This is silent leverage. Don't ask for loyalty. Create dependency. Make yourself so valuable, so indispensable in your environment that the idea of losing you is an economic or emotional catastrophe for others. True power doesn't need to threaten. It simply becomes impossible to replace. But all this control, all this power architecture collapses if you make a mistake that 99% of people make daily. A mistake Ford avoided with an arrogance most would call madness. Lesson 5. Selective deafness. Reverse echo. There is a famous quote attributed to Ford. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Most people are slaves to other people's opinions. They look for feedback, validation, consensus. Ford operated with an almost religious conviction. He saw something the rest of the world was too blind to understand. When he was developing the assembly line, experts told him it wouldn't work, that workers couldn't handle the monotony, that quality would suffer. Ford ignored them. He implemented the system, and he revolutionized global manufacturing. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Your customers don't know what they want. They only know what already exists. Your market cannot ask you for innovation because their imagination is limited by their experience. Listening to the market makes you mediocre. It turns you into an optimized follower. Ignoring the noise and giving the market what it needs, not what it asks for, makes you a visionary. Stop looking for approval for your ideas. Stop trying to please. Start dictating. But here comes the problem with selective deafness. If you ignore all voices but fail to monitor real threats, you will be destroyed from behind without ever seeing it coming. And Ford knew it. That's why he implemented something that today would be completely illegal. Lesson 6. Constructive paranoia. Ford didn't trust anyone, not his closest executives, not even his own son Edsel. He created the service department under Harry Bennett, an ex-boxer with underworld connections. Officially, it was security. In reality, it was an internal espionage network. Bennett had informants at every level of the company. Ford knew who spoke ill of him, who was conspiring, who planned a betrayal. It sounds paranoid, it sounds dark, it was, and it worked. He maintained absolute control of Ford Motor Company until his death. The brutal lesson? In the real world, naivety is a fatal flaw. Believing that people are good by nature is the philosophy of victims. Constructive paranoia isn't living in fear. It is assuming things will go wrong and having the contingency plan ready before they explode. It means armoring your contracts, protecting your intellectual property, never handing the keys to the kingdom to anyone, no matter how much you trust them. Trust, but verify. Or better yet, don't trust, control. But even with all this architecture of control, Ford knew there was a structural vulnerability that could destroy him, one that most entrepreneurs ignore until it's too late. Lesson 7. Total control. Vertical integration. Ford hated depending on outside suppliers. Every supplier was a point of failure, a place where someone else controlled his destiny. If the steel supplier raised prices, what did most people do? Negotiate, look for alternatives, switch suppliers. Ford did something more permanent. He bought the iron mines. Was shipping too slow? He bought the railroads. Did tires depend on imported rubber? He bought plantations in Brazil. He ended up owning his own ships to transport materials, sawmills to produce wood, foundries for steel, glass factories. This is vertical integration, aggressive self-sufficiency. Every time you depend on a third party for something critical, you have a weak point, a power leak, a place where someone else can choke you out. In your life, who do you depend on? A single employer? A single source of income? The approval of one person? That is vulnerability. Diversify. Learn the critical skills. Own your tools. The fewer middlemen between you and your result, the more power you have. And all of this entire architecture of domination comes down to a single metric. A metric Ford obsessed over to the point of cruelty. A metric modern society has completely forgotten. Lesson 8. The religion of results. On Ford's assembly line, only one thing mattered. Does the car come off the line or not? He didn't care if you worked 16 hours. It didn't matter if you tried hard. It didn't matter if you had good intentions. The assembly line is binary. It runs or it doesn't. And here is the poison that is killing your potential. Modern society is sick with intentions. We reward effort, participation, the attempt. At least I tried. I worked really hard. I did my best. I wish I could. Reality doesn't care about your attempt. Reality only responds to results. Ford had a ruthless philosophy. If something didn't move toward the objective, it had no value. If someone didn't produce, it didn't matter how much they tried, they were replaced. Dangerous intelligence requires a psychotic obsession with the final result. Look at your day today. Did you produce measurable results, or were you just busy? Did you move towards your goal, or did you just move? Eliminate everything that doesn't contribute directly to the final result. Be efficient to the point of cruelty with yourself. Because history doesn't remember those who almost made it. It only remembers those who won. These are the 8 lessons. They aren't pretty. They aren't for your cute little vision board. They are tools of war. Let's do a quick recap of Henry Ford's golden rules. 1. Strategic ignorance. Delegate knowledge, master access. 2. Industrial opacity. Become unreadable, generate speculation. 3. Scorched earth detachment. Whoever can destroy the deal controls it. 4. Golden handcuffs. Don't ask for loyalty, create dependency. 5. Selective deafness. Dictate, don't please. 6. Constructive paranoia. Don't trust control. 7. Total control. Eliminate middlemen. Be self-sufficient. 8. The religion of results. Only what you produce matters. Ford didn't ask for permission to change the world. He forced it to change through mechanical will and ruthless strategy. Now look at your life. You are playing by the rules of nice people, waiting for it to be fair, waiting for your turn. The world never plays fair. Most people will click off now. They'll go back to their little comfortable illusions and their meaningless assembly line jobs. Let them. But if you are still here, it means you are ready to stop being a part of the machine and start building your own. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Not to support me, but to signal to yourself that you are done asking for permission. The assembly line stops for no one. Either you run it or it crushes you. You decide.